Join us as we unravel the chaos, question our own love-hate relationship with workplace chats, and maybe, just maybe, find a lighter side of the WeChat dilemma. So how come this woman has 600 work-related groups in the first place?
Well, yeah, I think that could be a very extreme case. This lady is actually a business building designer, and so for each shopping mall, there are like hundreds of stores within, and for every store, she needs to check the design, construction process of those stores. So that's why
job.
Yeah, so that's why she's in like more than 600 groups. I think that's a very extreme case. In reality, maybe most of us don't really get involved in so many working groups, but I think that somehow speaks for the increasing trend in workplace that our private life has been sort of invaded by those messaging apps. I mean, especially with the convenient emergence of those messaging apps, and you feel like the line between work and your private life is blurred. So that's why this piece of news somehow make a lot of people feel resonated with it.
So Josh, are you in many work-related chat groups?
Yes, I have been, but I actively try to disassociate myself from them as quickly as possible because I can't deal with that. I can't deal with being on call all the time. I try to maintain an image of incredibly busy and very difficult to contact, and I will continue to do so for the rest of my life. So terrible to me, but 600 is insane.
It's insane. It's a case, and it's due to the nature of the women's work. So I don't think the majority of us would have so many work chat groups. But I think what you said about being on call all the time is actually the key here. So having these instant chat apps is already like a huge invasion of our lives. People can find us all the time. By saying people, I mean sometimes friends that you don't necessarily want to talk to at that exact moment, or colleagues or boss, they can find you all the time. And in fact, I think in reality, we are already on call all the time. But when it comes to chat or online chat groups, the thing is, I think for a lot of people, the reason we hate it so much is because not all the information in that group has something to do with us. We do not necessarily need to know the information all the time. Yes, they buzz all the time. But before trash talking about it so much, is there any perk of being or having, let's say, the invention of work? Is there anything good?
Of course, the invention of such messaging apps has made our working increased so much, especially during the pandemic. I mean, those digital tools and online chat groups actually make our work possible when we all like it. And also for important can provide some proof or provide some guarantee or safety for employees, especially when it comes to law-related matters. So I think those online chat tools still got their merits, although now they're being sort of overused so that it really created burden for employees, especially at grassroots levels.
So Josh, in your opinion, do you think the constant influx of messages from multiple online chat groups would create challenges for professionals in terms of efficiency, emotional well-being, anything bad about it?
Absolutely. I think that it's extremely inefficient. I think that it is efficient in doing what it does, which is to have instant messaging. It's obviously very good at that, but when it comes to productivity in the workplace and happy employees who stay in that job for a long period of time and are committed to the company, committed to the brand, actually enjoy being there, good relationships at work, surely all of these things are boxes that you want to tick as a business, right? I don't think it helps at all. I think that it increases stress massively. It blurs the line between your personal life and your professional life to the point where it's basically the same thing. It's easy to end up working overtime without getting paid because, I mean, surely it's still classed as work if you're at home and your team is still sending you messages at 11 p.m. at night in the chat group, right? I consider that to be work. But it's not, right? But people are using WeChat for both personal and professional use. There's no clear lines anymore. There's no clear boundaries, and I think that results in a lot of stress, a lot of unhappiness, a lot of anger, and just unpleasant feelings. And is probably also a product of this sort of gig economy that we're seeing growing over the last decade. And yeah, so for me personally, I don't think it works. We've seen examples of the opposite of it. The opposite of it being, for example, maybe a 4-day work week, and when you're off work, not being allowed to contact the employees. We trialed this on a massive scale in the UK quite recently. We discussed this on the show. And also, not only was it a 4-day work week, it was when you clock off work, you are really off work. Your boss is not supposed to contact you. If you take a holiday, there are rules by where you're not allowed to receive emails from your company, things like this. And it's shown that productivity either stays the same or goes up, but employee satisfaction and happiness also goes up. So for me, instant messaging is sort of the opposite of all of that, but I may be wrong, but that's how I feel about it. I have quite strong opinions, as you can hear.
Yes, you do. And on top of that, many people also argue that face-to-face communication is more efficient, since you can actually quite make sure you understand what the other person is saying. And some others are also saying their approach about all the chat groups is to mute everything unless you are being mentioned directly or mentioned using the @ kind of function, that is, you're mentioned in the group.
But then, my question is really muting all those chat group really workable? Because I've been muting all those important working groups, but I still feel like you can't really distract yourself from those working environments when you are actually in those working groups, because we're using social media. Unless you don't really use that social media app anymore, maybe muting those could be helpful.
I agree. Maybe muting does not work for some people as well, but I think at the end of the day, it's the management's job to think about a better way to manage to communicate. It's definitely an art. Sometimes we need to be on the same page, but sometimes not everyone needs to be posted all the time. Not every information has to arrive in everybody's brain right at the moment when the information is created. So I don't believe it's the WeChat group or the instant content message to be blamed. At the end of the day, it's the choice of the company, it's the choice of the management style, and we all hope we can find the company that we love to work in, no matter if you are a supporter of face-to-face communication or if you are super introvert and you only want to communicate with people online. Hopefully you can find the best spot for you. And that brings us to the end of today's roundtable. Thanks to E and Josh. Until next time, keep the conversations going and the ideas flowing. I'm Hong Lin. Bye for now.
With a history of 5,000 years, it's no surprise that China has created a fabulous treasury of folk tales.
Once a year, on the 7th day of the 7th month, all the magpies fly up to heaven and form a bridge.
So many amazing worlds to discover.
I want a new palace,
said King Mu of Zhou one day.
Chinese folk tales retold for audiences today. Will you marry me?
They asked. And with little hesitation, she said, yes.
5,000 years of amazing Chinese folk tales.
My father must not go to war. Someone must take his place.
You'll find Chinese Folk Tales Season 3, wherever you discover your favorite podcasts.
Nemzetközi Rádió. Pekingből közvetítjük magyar nyelvű adásunkat. Jó estét kívánunk, kedves hallgatóink!
Kínai Nemzetközi Rádió hétvégi adását hallják.
County is located at. That's the episode where this has come back to a full recovery, and in those resettlement shelters, there are heaters and hot food being. That the chemistry mission has come to a close actually, and as
合计2.5亿元灾后应急。
sablonokat, mintákat, kialakult szokásokat meghalad.
Emergency responders have been sent to this epicenter where the earthquake hit the most. Some of the fresh products are being loaded off the truck here by the fire. Specific location. The products include tomatoes, also fresh cabbage and green onions. These are some of the supplies mentioned at the press briefing that they will make sure that people here are no longer being impacted by this specific earthquake that's happening here. Some of the people, the smokes are also steaming here from the ground. People are gathering here to keep themselves warm as the temperature is still quite low here. In addition to the other press briefing, they say
sites near the epicenter of the earthquake to transport materials from a nearby construction site to house the displaced people. The spatial rooms have beds, electricity, and stoves for heating. Technologies also improve the conditions. Drones provided light at one of the sites. The device, powered by an electrical cable, can remain floating and act as a light source for a large area. The earthquake struck an area that's prone to frequent seismic activity. Now, the area's had several destructive wintertime earthquakes. And the concerns that more may occur in the future, Professor Malton saying the term earthquake is in
全景中国全。公益传递下去。节目下半段开始，让我们跟随青岛台来聆听青岛包子姐做志愿者找到新生的故事。